The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Oh no, it wasn't the planes. It was beauty killed the beast. I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. It's so beautiful. Let's live here. We'll rent to start. Classic memorial endings indeed. And the Championship Motorsports iRacing GT3 series will soon speak its final line. All the action from green flag to victory donuts will be seen live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Just like knowing the Titanic sinks in the end, we know in the end who will win the championship. But that won't dull the excitement of the script's last pages. Sure, Umberto Rocca will find his way into the lifeboat with the Blue Diamond, the heart of the ocean that is the Pro Cup Drivers' Championship. But for Paul Darling, Dexter Castro, and Miguel Acrudo, the struggle remains because there's only room for two of them on the floating door that is the remaining podiums. This quarter-hour Streamy Award-worthy pre-race show will count down to the green flag at beautiful Road Atlanta. The field of Mercedes, BMWs, Audis, McLarens, and Roofs will try to sort themselves out through the orange zone that ends after turn 1, and then the racing begins in earnest. So bring cyberspace into your place, throw a couple cream cheese Kringles on the plate, pour yourself a tall cold glass of Wisconsin dairy, put the Lazy Boy recliner to good use, and enjoy the 100 minutes of simulated sports car excitement that will be streaming your way. From the Badger State, welcome to another GSRC broadcast. I'm your host, Bill Soupson. Keeping me from misidentifying the corners is the one and only Mark Nobert. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is our director, Amjad Yaman, and at his disposal will be the visionary camera locations provided by the renowned Dougie Beard. For those unfamiliar with the Championship Motorsports, it is a virtual motorsports and sim racing league that's been around since 1999, offering a variety of racing and training programs using computer simulations on several platforms like R-Factor 2, GTR2, and Richard Burns Rally. But the name of today's platform is racing, which not so coincidentally coincides with the iRacing GT3 series. 9 races down, 1 to go. The star of the season has been Umberto Rocca in his Mercedes. The Bolivian Blur has climbed the Pro Drivers' Championship, and he's clinched it up. But the remaining podium spots are still up for grabs, as are many spots of the 3 major championships that also are left. But more on that a bit later. As the season nears its end, I'm reminded of Doc closing line, roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Well, sorry, Doc, I beg to differ. Mark, tell us a little bit about the road that is Road America.
Road America, a 4-mile road course nestled in the northeast Wisconsin, halfway between Milwaukee and Green Bay. 4.1-mile road course, 14 corners, and it's called America's National Park of Speed. You've got 3 straights, although they're not all that straight. One of them is real long, real straight, but it's an uphill climb to get there. Then you've got the climb, the drive from turn 3 to turn 5. That's another real good straightaway. And then you've got from the carousel all the way to Canada Corner, and that is the third straight that you can really, really do something with.
And to get a better idea of what the track looks like, let's go ahead and ride with Kevin Brown in the GSRC BMW around Road America.
All right, we've got Kevin Brown behind the wheel of the GSRC BMW, so let's do a lap around Road America. Coming down the front stretch, turn 1 normally wouldn't be a passing zone with it being a fast right-hander, but the long pit straight means there's plenty of braking to give you a chance to get by. Watch out for drivers who drift wide, though. 2 wheels in the grass can send you straight into the barrier to your right. From there, we head downhill to 3. This is one of the more crucial corners to get right. The most important thing about it is the exit, because it's another long acceleration zone afterwards. Slow in, fast out was never more true. Now we've got the moraine sweep. These little bends mean you need to be very aware of the drivers around you, lest you drift into your competitor's lane. Coming up, though, is the left-hander of 5. This is a very popular overtaking spot, but also where many drivers outbrake themselves. Keep half an eye on your mirrors. Then it's uphill to 6. This crest makes it very easy to lock the brakes. It's also really blind. You don't see your turn-in until you're right on top of it. After that, we've got the hurry downs. Just a lift through that fast kink of 7, and we fly downhill to another potential passing zone. Turn 8 will see some guys make an ambitious move here or there. If you catch the guy in front of you sleeping, it's not out of the question to nab a position. Then we fly around the infamous carousel. Impatient drivers will get a terrible launch compared to the ones waiting on a feathered throttle. But if you get a run, you gotta be brave, because too wide through the kink is a crazy game of chicken. It's only a small lift, but go wide and there's mere yards on either side of the track before carbon fiber meets concrete. If an accident unfolds here in traffic, expect multiple drivers to end their day prematurely. From there, we straighten out the kettle bottoms and set up for Canada Corner. This is your last good spot in the lap to execute a pass. If we see a draft battle towards the end, guys will be looking to seal the deal here. Then there's 13A. It's blind, fast, and requires a lot of commitment to get the most out of it. It immediately dumps you into the last turn, which has a tricky, curved braking zone. Once again, your exit speed is so much more important than your entry speed. Especially with this huge uphill and long front stretch, you need every inch of oomph your car has got. But that is a lap around Road America.
And there's a lap around beautiful Road America. Now let's take a look at the 4 major championships, starting with the pro drivers. Now, as mentioned earlier, Delta Motorsports star driver Umberto Roca has clinched the championship. Even if the Bolivian Blur stumbles, his 18 pocket points will ensure that there's no way for anyone to overtake him. So while the champion is known, the final 2 podium spots are not. Now, harking back to the earlier Titanic analogy, for Paul Oh My Darling, the main man Dexter Castro, and Miguel Acrudo, 2 will end up like Kate Winslet, floating warmly on the podium, while the odd man out will end up in a similar fashion as poor Leonardo DiCaprio. Jason Lundy rounds out the final top 5 spot. Moving now to the Amateur Driving Championships. This one has been close all season. Tim Collier is back in front, but only by a slim 3 points over Screw Loose Motorsports' Robert Sticky Pine Tarbox. Now, points are harder to come by further down the finishing order, which makes it a tough call for Collier's Can-Am teammate Chris Hudson to gain or lose positions. But the same cannot be said for privateer Kurt Poulter and the Delta's little Miguel Crudo at the bottom half of the chart. Now going to the point standings for the gents. And in the gentleman division, Puffins Racing Peter Hebron has a stranglehold here. David Slee and Simon Goodwin could swap places. Jay DeGuerre and Paul Honeybaked Hamilton should round out the top 5. Moving to the team championship, to be honest, when prepping for this segment, I ended up totally confused. Gold cups, silver cups, plastic cups, I was so lost. I asked the GSRC staff boys, Simon and Poindexter, for any material they had to bring me up to speed, but I could not make any sense of their notes. So with that in mind, here are, to the best of my ability to comprehend them, the team standings. I'm very, very confident in saying that the combination of Roca with big and little Acrudos was enough to win the championship for the top team you see there. It is my belief that the runner-up spot is still up for grabs between Screw Loose Motorsports and Can-Am Racing. Puffin Racing shows early promise, but has been very disappointing of late and now sits in 4th. Paul Oh My Darling has pulled Hammerdown Racing into the chart. Mark, my goodness, we've talked about the series, and the track, 3 different driver championships, a team championship, but we're not done yet. What are the nuts and bolts of today's race?
Nuts and bolts. Hopefully the lug nuts are tight. We've got 4 different car classes: Mercedes, 5 Mercedes, BMWs, Audis, McLarens, and the roof. It is open setup. We're looking at a 65% fuel load, so we're probably going to get 2 stops out of it. 30-minute open qualifying, 100-minute race length. And then we're looking at about one fast repair, no incident cap, and the orange cone, that place where they cannot pass, or at least they shouldn't pass until, is turn 1. That tricky turn 1 after that heavy braking zone on the front stretch. And we got some dynamic weather today. Let's see. Let's taking a look at the weather. We have the track temp of 79 degrees and the air temp of 76 degrees. So it shouldn't affect the setup too terribly much.
Yeah, nice 79-degree Fahrenheit track temperature. That could play into whether these drivers decide to take tires or not. Now, to talk about that a little bit, on the rules for the GT3 cars is when you come in for a pit stop, you have to take fuel, and then if you want to, you can take tires after that. You can't do it at the same time. So it makes the pit stops incredibly long, about 25 to 30 seconds to change all 4 tires. So Mark, what they may decide to do here, because of the track temperature, maybe the tires won't go quickly. Maybe we'll see guys try to do it without changing tires, or maybe they'll decide to do it. What do you think you would do if you were out here?
It's a tough call. In fact, just this past weekend, the IMSA cars were there, and one team chose to not take tires on one of their stops. It shot to the front of the field. They lasted a lot longer than most people thought they would, and then they dropped like a rock. If it's me, I take tires each stop because the track is abrasive. It chews up tires, and you need that rubber to get around this track.
Yeah, usually for me, any time I save by not taking tires, I lose by trying to get the car back out of the alfalfa after I spin off 3 or 4 times. So, honestly, give me the best handling car you can. I don't care how long it takes. I would take tires in a 50-minute sprint race if I had to. Okay. In fact, sometimes I might even pull them before the tank is empty just to give me new tires. Give me that rubber. Now, remember, this thing is rocked up a little bit here, but we do have some big names with us. Looking at the early qualifying times, Humberto Roca and Miguel Crudo up there on top. See a lot of the big names here today. That's always nice, Mark. We got about 24, 25, 27 drivers here today.
Yeah, this should be a good race, a good field. The thing about Road America is being a 4.1, almost 4.1 mile road course is that you can fit a lot of cars on here, and even the pit lane. The pit lane is so long that with any car with about a 45 mile an hour or 55 mile an hour pit lane speed limit, you're looking at about a 40-second drive down pit lane alone.
Yeah, little known fact, Mark's very familiar with this track. In fact, his mom gave birth to him just inside Canada Corner, I believe. Is that the story? Maybe I got that story wrong, but I know you've been here a lot.
Inside of Fireman's Hill, basically, but yes. I was just there this past weekend for those IMSA cars, and the track is phenomenal. And these kind of cars are the same thing that was running there. They are unbelievable to watch. There's so many great places, like the kink. You want to see cars come through so fast that you can't blink. And then you got the different classes of racing in some series where they just gobble them up. And that's the great thing about this being a GT3 class, is that they're, for the most part, competitive, and you don't know from day to day who's going to have the quicker car. And so you've got a lot of action all around the track. And then the other question is downforce versus top speed. If you choose to tighten your car down in your setup to take a heavier downforce, you're going to turn better, but you're going to lose a lot on those straightaways. You're going to lose a lot of passing ability. If you choose to loosen up the setup and go for the top speed on the straights, you're going to corner like a dump truck.
Talking to Dino Topic, one of the participants in the race today, currently sitting 10th in qualifying. It looks like qualifying might be done as I see the drivers leaving here. He was saying he's going with the slightest downforce he can, trying to get the least amount of drag in his Audi. Good luck to him there. Again, that's why I like the BMW. It may not be the fastest car, but man, it feels, at least to me, it feels like a comfortable pair of tennis shoes out there.
It's a terribly tough balance to get. It's a tightrope, choosing how much downforce versus how much raw speed. If it's me, I think I want about a 50-50. Maybe I'm going to err a little bit on the side of downforce because you want to be able to corner at this track.
And it looks like the qualifying is done, Director. Do you think we can go to that now, or do we have to wait? And we're doing about that. One thing I would do is, I think the BMW is going to suffer here a little bit because of, we talked about those long straights. It's going to have a hard time with top end speed. A lot of talk going on between the drivers. Remember, this is the final race, and we're waiting here for the qualifying to be done. We'll put those up in a second. This is the final race of the 10-race season, and boy, it is wonderful. I'm glad that GSRC could be here. Too bad we were not here for all of the events, but we enjoyed being here for many of them, and great to be here for the one that counted at the end. A lot of big names here. Eduardo Benica is also in here today. Chris Hudson. A lot of championships going on. Still waiting for qualifying to be over, as we still have a few more minutes to go. Although I don't see anybody out on the track right now. So, Mark, you live close to Road America. Am I correct that way?
I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, about 2 hours from the racetrack, and now I live in Lower Michigan, about 5.5, 6 hours from the track. So yes, it's close, and it is literally my favorite place in the world to be. There's no place I'd rather be than at this track.
And it's one of the few tracks that have been around for a while. There haven't been a lot of changes to this thing. It's pretty much how it is when they build it, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. They repaved it. Its only time, like about 10 or 15 years ago. And the only configuration change they've ever made to it is a little bit of corner, corner widening and whatnot for the NASCARs when they came in, the Xfinities. But also when they started doing the motorcycles years back, they added that little bend in the kink right after the kink, so that the motorcycles would not get crazy speed coming out through there.
Well, I always ask my broadcast partner, if they go to the track, where would they like to watch where would you like to sit or stand, probably in this case? So since you've been here so much, what's your favorite spot to actually view the action?
Oh, hands down, the Fireman's Hill. When you come down the long straightaway, the speed trap there, going into turn 5, and you take that left-hand turn to go up the hill, you'll see, even if you're in the car on the sim, you can see people on the right and see people on the left. That right-hand side is by far and away the best place on the entire track, because as most people know about road courses, you can't see the whole track at once. You have to take what you can get. The greatest thing about turn 5 in Fireman's Hill is that you can see a good portion. You can see the most right there on Fireman's Hill.
Getting some information here from some of the drivers. Just got a message from Dexter Castro. Says it should be fun. Qualified P18. Yeah, Dexter, we see you back there. We'll keep an eye on you as you work your way through the field up in the standings. Okay, you can see there on that long Dougie Beer shot as that. This looks like it maybe is like a drone cam, maybe the blimp cam here. What a great shot. It's from the blimp with the zoom camera in there. You can see the whole field of cars lined up. You may wonder, well, Soup and Mark, you better get calling the grid. Well, we got plenty of time. It's 4 miles around, and for reasons unbeknownst to me, iRacing likes to make the drivers go all the way around. So not only can we take our time calling out the grid, we can take a nice leisurely trip around Road America as we do it. Let's go ahead and call it up there now, Director. We'll get out of the way. On the pole, we'll do this a row at a time, Mark. On the first row, we have Umberto Roca sitting up there in the pole position. Just outside of him, and being very effective lately, is Paul, oh my darling. Who do you got in the second row?
On the second row, about a tenth of a second back is Michele Crudo and Victor Tanaka.
Victor Tanaka, always exciting to watch. Going to row 3, Edward Beninka. And then outside of him, Ryan Bird outside of 3. Mark?
In the 7th starting spot is Chris Hudson. Right next to him on the outside is Tim Collier.
You viewers at home, if you'd like a fun drinking game, and of course we recommend that you do it with soft drinks because we don't recommend hard drinking, GSRC cares, but whatever you want to drink, every time I call Mark Sean, take a swig. On the inside of row 5, where are we? Row 4, I forgot my space there. Row 4, it's Chris Hudson, and outside of him is Tim Collier. Mark?
I just did row 4, but I'll do row 4 again. Starting 7th is Chris Hudson. No, starting 9th is Jared Lawson, and in 10th place is Dino Topic.
We have so much time, we'll do some of these drivers twice. Going to the next graphic. In the 11th spot, James Stacy. Outside of him, it's Drew Litke.
In 13th, Robert Tarbox Jr., and starting right alongside is Tom Rathje.
Good to see Tom back, the base 8 hammer out there starting in that 14th position. Then we go into row 15. It's Tim Poulter, the 15th position, and outside of him, another partner to Tom Rathje is Jason Lundy in the Puffin machine. Mark?
And 17th is Curtis Paulchen. On the 18th starting spot is Dexter Castro.
Dexter not happy with that 18th spot, but he's got good company right behind Jason Lundy. James Hume and Peter Hebron. Hebron leading the gentleman's class in 20th position.
In 21st, Simon Goodwin, and in 22nd is Anthony M. James.
Paul Honeybaked Hamilton in the 23rd spot, and then the last driver to actually post a qualifying time, Jay Daguerre in 24th.
And bringing up the last 3 spots without times is Darren Leslie. 26th, Christian Hookfield. And in 27th, oh boy, is lonesome, is Mark Ruggiero.
Okay, now remember, here, good lucks from everybody. Remember, there is an orange zone here. First of all, it's a long drive down even before they will accelerate down the straightaway. And then they have a long time before they get into turn 1 to get themselves sorted out nicely. The orange zone rule is if you're going to pass, you have to do it with extreme caution. Basically, if you try to pass in the orange zone and something goes wrong, it's going to be your fault. So the guy who initiates the aggression there is going to be in trouble. Okay, the pace car finally makes it around the 4 miles now. He's going to pull off into the pit lane in a minute, but then it's going to be a long time before Umberto Roca actually brings him up to speed as he holds him back down this long straight. It's quite a ways before the lights will go off and they turn these cars loose. So you got plenty of time to gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows because the horses are out of the barn. And no surprise to anybody, Umberto Roca leads the stampedes of cars down into turn 1. Now everybody be sorting out. Look at that, how they slide in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in diamond position. Everybody pretty much getting in line the way that they qualified all the way back to 6th position. Ryan Bird tucks in there. 7th and 8th also tucks in with Hudson and Collier. Everybody doing a good job. Now, once they get by turn 1, Mark, it's racing in earnest.
Once you get through turn 1, the race is just starting. You got to navigate that little bit of a kink down into turn 3. And turn 3 and turn 14 are equally probably the 2 toughest corners on this entire track because they set up really long straights.
Oh, a guy making an incredible move on the outside is Victor Tanaka. He got around with Miguel Acrudo. Now he's side by side with Paul Darling. Looks like Darling has the preferred position. He's going to get that taken care of. But my goodness, Tanaka's got the brake set up just perfect on that Audi.
Yeah, its brakes are really big commodity at a track like this. And when you go for the lower downforce type setting, you better hope that they don't fail.
Very fearless as he drove the car down into turn 5, is where Mark was saying he would like to be. Now they work their way around the carousel. And if we go here, look at that long shot. You'll see them entering the scariest corner, I think, on the iRacing service through the kink. Umberto Roca already opening up about a 0.6 of a second lead on Paul Darling. Tanaka's made his way up to 3rd. Crudo in 4th. Oh, almost a little contact there in the back as Ryan Bird almost got into the back of Michael Crudo. Sorry, that was Edward Benica almost got into the back. That yellow car of Ryan Bird behind them in 6th.
As the leaders are coming around turn 14 and heading up the hill, Umberto Roca is leading Paul Darling, and he's actually starting to pull away already. He's starting to gap it out almost to a full second, and they're crossing the finish line.
The championship is already his Roca's, but he doesn't want to back into it. He wants to claim it, not only win the championship here today, but win it from the tallest podium as he's sipping the victory champagne from Road America. But now look at that, Darling's doing a good job of pulling up behind him as they're still, believe it or not, working down still on the first lap. It's a long way around here. Oh, sorry, we are on lap 2. There we go.
One of the tricky things about turn 3 and turn 14 like is passing a car. It takes you off of your optimal line to pass somebody in the corner. Then it makes it very difficult to put the power down to the track as you're accelerating down the straightaway. Very easy for the guy that you just passed to do the slingshot and get you back, or even for you to go a little bit wide and put tires off the track.
Let's go back to 10th position right now, looking at Dino Topic. He's being challenged by Drew Litke. That's pulled off a little bit, but then in 12th is Jared Lawson. These guys have been nose to tail as they go in. It looks like that Litke has much better, at least he dives it into the corner harder, but then Topic gets that drive off the corner as you have two different makes of cars there. You have Topic in the Audi, and then Litke looks like he's driving. Is that a Merc he's driving, or is that another Audi? No, that's a Mercedes. No, it is another Audi. My apologies. They're both an Audi. From my long camera angle there, I couldn't make that up. There we have the other car is Lawson. And my goodness, is Lawson in a roof? There's our only roof out there. Am I looking at that, Mike? Yes. Let's keep an eye on Jared. He might not be the only roof, but they're hard to find.
Like a pirate's treasure.
Yeah, get confirmation from the director. That is the only roof that's out there. Good for him. Of course, one of the drivers who used to be in the roof that we used to enjoy watching was Victor Tanaka, but he's switched over. No longer driving that. Oh, come on, it's a Porsche.
When we talked to him, didn't he say that had something to do with the fact that they were taking a car out of the series or something?
Right, exactly. He can't drive it. He can't drive it in the regular iRacing series, so he didn't see the point of driving it here. So he's going to drive something that he can get a little more practice in. If he's going to be at something that might as well have a double-edged sword. Looking now at Bird. Oh. Bird is in the wall. Let's see what happened here. Looks like a self-spin. He was chasing Honey Baked Hamilton, and then just gets the car up in the wreck. But we're seeing he had contact. Oh, you know what? As we're looking there, I'm looking at a different incident. So here we go. While that was going on, we also had one from Christian Hoeveld also got loose. So let's ride on board with Bird now. Maybe from behind the director. Is that what we're thinking? He got hit from behind. Well, no, look at the front. No. He locked it up and got into him. Okay. So while that was going on, I have to report that Christian Hoeveld also had trouble, and he is now putting his car down pit lane. So that's why I was confused there. We were looking at two simultaneous incidents at the same time. Bird still out there. Oh, here we go. We have Hoeveld now. Here we go, and you can see this one was a solo spin. Marky just gets the left side tires off onto the grass, and then the car comes around on him.
And as anyone who's driven a car on any road course here or otherwise can attest, if you put a tire off, you're gonna go for a little bit of a ride. That one being turn 14 makes it a little bit tougher because, as I stated earlier, 13 and 14 and 3 and 14 set up long straights. So you're not only just going around the corner when you put a tire off, but you're putting the power down.
As he's got the car back out there now. What are runoff areas here in some of the scary corners? We didn't have much time to talk about that. Is there a lot of room to make a mistake, or can it come to bite you here at Road America?
Well, from what I've experienced in driving this on the sim and being there so many times over the course of my life, is that this is the roomiest track to make a mistake on. This is the track that if you're a driver learning, you want to learn here.
We're looking at 8th position now as we're looking at Topic. We knew this was going to be a battle, and he's in it right now. My goodness, now that's Litke up in front. Topic took that defensive line, being challenged by the roof of Lawson. Lawson trying to find a way around right now behind that Audi of Topic. And it looks like Litke may have holding everybody up, and now Topic has ideas of going to the inside, and I think he's got a pretty good line coming in here. They're side by side. No, but he's on the outside, so he's not going to be able to get it done from there. But over, under, maybe? Look at the drive he gets off. Now he has them side by side again. And this time he's going to have the preferred position mark, and he's going to get that pass made. Rock behind him. Dropping back, Lawson loses position to Tom Ratchie in his BMW. Ratchie up to 10th.
You know,
And we're looking at a spin, and it was Lundy got loose. Lundy got loose and got into Tarbox, Robert Tarbox, who is in the battle for the amateur championship. That's not what he needed. Tarbox coming over says, and then after that, if we stay with it a little bit, you'll see that the drivers going around Tarbox, also James Ewings gets into it with some more drivers up there. James, what? Lots of cars involved later. Simon Goodwin involved. So the original, here we go. Is this the first incident? This is the second one. Here we go. So you had the first incident, then you had drivers. I don't think Tarbox did anything wrong. He had the car out there going straight, but drivers got a little bit out of control there. Now the good news for everybody for this event, though, there is one fast repair. The bad news is it's probably still a little bit early to get that one now to be in your pit window.
With an hour and a half still to go, yeah, it's real early to be having to use one of those.
The word I'm hearing is about 40 minutes per stint, so that's 80. So maybe if you were 20 minutes into the race, you might be able to get there. We're not there yet. So now that things have settled down in the back, why don't we run down the top 10? Mark, I'll take the top 5. You get the second 5. Up in front, half seconds in the lead is Umberto Roca. Keeping pace with him is Paul Darling in that Audi. Behind him, now here's a nice battle. Tanaka, who got around Accrudo earlier, is being challenged. Accrudo in the Audi, and then there is the Mercedes of, I'm sorry, let me get this straight. Tanaka is in the Audi, and Accrudo is in the Mercedes, running in 4th position, but well within striking distance. A little bit farther back, he started 7th, up to position is Chris Hudson into 5th. Mark, who you got behind them?
In 6th, we have Tim Collier in the 211 car in the Audi. In 7th place, we have James Stacy in the 102. In 8th place, we have Dino Topic. And over in 9th place, it's Drew Lidke. And in 10th, Jarrett Lawson.
And let's stay on Lawson in that roof right now, because here comes the Bay State Hammer, Tom Ratchett, in that BMW, the puffin colors there, the light blue and orange Golf machine in 11th spot, trying to see if he can get around the roof of Jared Lawson. This is to get inside the top 10. Look at that BMW. They're really good under braking always. Watching the show from behind, there is Eduardo Benica in the number 148 machine. If you look at the numbers on the car, if you see them on screen, these are all 3-digit numbers for the cars. The cars that start in the 100s are the pro drivers. Cars that start in the 200s are your amateur drivers. And then if you have a car that starts with the number 3-digit, well, that's the gentleman driver. And here's a pass. Let's look now at 11th position. You can see him tucking to the inside there. That goes Benica inside of Tom Ratchie. Ratchie, who was up there pressuring Lawson just a second ago, has now given up that position. We'll see if Benica can get up there, try to crack inside the top 10. A lot of excitement back there right now. I'd say from 8th back, Topic, Litke, Lawson, all running close together. Benica and Ratchie.
The cars are starting to all space themselves out. We've got sizable gaps between just about everybody. Topic and Lidke, we're looking at about a half a second. A little bit further back, there's about a half a second between Lidke and Lawson. And it's just they're starting to go they're starting to slowly gap themselves out from one another, and just seems like they're kind of taking their time now for this hour-and-a-half race.
If we can take a second and jump up to 5th position, this is Chris Hudson. You see him in the car 243. That means he's an amateur driver. He's also being raced by Tim Collier. Now, Collier and Hudson are both in that amateur championship hunt, although Collier's probably in the better position, especially now that his nearest rival, Robert Sticky Time Carbox, has put the car in the wall. So things are looking good for Collier. Both those cars starting with the number 2 puts them in the amateur class. I was hoping for a class that started with the number 4 for fat, bald, slow drivers, because that would be one for me, but they didn't go that way.
I'd sign right up.
Yeah, maybe next season I have hopes for that. Looking at the battle now here with Victor Kanaka. Let's make sure that my paint scheme is the same as what you're skiing. He notoriously drives that beautiful black machine. So fun to look at, and it is. He's being challenged for a while there from big Miguel El Crudo. Of course, the Crudos have Papa and son out here. Little Miggy El Crudo. Let's make sure little Miggy is here today. Oh, I may have spoke too soon. I don't see him in the lineup. So it's just Papa today. Battling Victor Tanaka.
Wonder where he is today.
Of course, these drivers get drop races. Oh! Yeah, we're looking at Benica. He was running in good shape. Boy, my goodness, it looks like just a self-spin. He was behind Lawson. We saw him earlier. Oh, you can see it. He overcorrects here, Mark. This is what I do all the time. The car gets a little loose, and then I panic and puts it. I'm not saying he panicked, but that's rough. Good news is there is a fast repair, but I think he's going to have to take a tow, which means it's going to be a long time before the invisible pit crews start to get to work on that machine.
It's so easy to overcorrect when you're in a situation at any track, and this is no different. He clearly just was trying to save it, and just when that wheel catches, when you turn the wheel opposite lock and it catches, it just goes.
You almost have to uncrank it before it catches. You just kind of hope you got to almost time when it catches, and if you wait till it catches, it's almost too late, at least with my reflexes. Boy, we talked about the runoff areas. Boy, right there at that corner where Benica had trouble, not a lot of room for mistakes there when you loop it back to the inside. That wall came up pretty quick for him. So another driver gone in the top 10, which lets everybody move up a little bit. Looks like things are settling down a little bit. So how about we look at the second 10 right now? We'll see if we can find that. It looks like that's going to be, where are we starting with? Director, we're going to start with, Tom Ratchey still trying to make his way up into the top 10. Attrition hasn't worked in his favor quite enough yet. He's being chased by Ryan Bird. Now, Bird's right behind him in that yellow machine. What a pretty car that is, that Mercedes. I like that paint scheme, Ryan. A little bit farther behind them, watching them, is Kurt Poulter. Now, he's in a 244 machine, which means he's running in that amateur division again. We talked about him earlier, up to 14th position. He started 18th, was not happy with his qualifying performance. Dexter Castro, now up to 14th, but still has a ways to go before he gets into Poulter. We'll keep an eye on him as he makes his way up. Curtis Paulschen back in 15th spot. Not a real battle going on. Here's your lead driver in the gentleman class, 346, Peter Hebron, running in 16th. He's leading that division right now. He should be safely in the championship. Here's another gentleman driver, Jay Daguerre, running in the 17 car, 302. He started in 24th position, up 7 spots to 17th. Nice job from Jay. One of the veterans of the series, Jason Lundy. Things have not worked out well for him lately in the series. Started 16, dropped 2 positions back. Jason just can't seem to get any momentum going. Final 2 drivers in the top 20. Simon Goodwin, another gentleman driver, inside the top 5 in the point standings. And then finally, the last car in the top 20. We saw him have trouble earlier. It's Robert Tarbox. He's really going to need to pick up time if he wants to put pressure on Collier for that amateur championship.
Back in 21st, we have James Hume. And a little bit behind him, in 22nd, is Anthony M. James. Right behind him, almost, not quite right behind him, a little ways back, is Christian Hoogfield. Then the only car down a lap on the track currently, we have Paul Hamilton. Not running times right now is 25th, Eduardo Beninca. 26th is Mark Ruggiero, and 27th, Darren Leslie.
Hamilton had that problem earlier, but Honey Baked has got it back out on the track. And we know that Benica had his problems. I don't even see him in the pits. He may have called it a day, I think. I'm not sure then if Mark Ruggiero even took a lap. No, he's out there, sitting still in the pits.
Benica is disconnected.
And Benica is gone. That's a tough break for him. Started 5th, so there's one of your top competitors who's now out of the race. And there you go. We got it all the way through the field. We'd like to thank all the drivers for letting us do that. Usually that is, if you want some excitement, usually the best thing to do is have the announcers try to run down through the field, because that's a certainty that there's going to be a problem. We're going now to Jared Lawson. Oh, Lawson had a little trip with that roof. There you go. He looped it right in front of Bird. I know that yellow card in front of Bird and Poulter. Oh, it's Bird and Rathy, sorry. Let's see, did he get it back out on the track here as we watch it? We're coming back to live. He got it back out there. And now we look at this continuing battle between Victor Tanaka and Miguel Acrudo. They're really starting to annoy the announcers and the directors. Not so much Tanaka, but Acrudo. I'd like Acrudo to actually get this job done so we can get it off our radar screen. Here he comes. He dives in. That's not going to have enough momentum to get around Tanaka. Let's stay on this a bit. They come around. Now here's the final corner. They're going to go down the long main straight. Let's see what kind of drive, let's see what kind of bite that Acrudo can get off that final corner. Mark, is turn 1 a passing zone? I guess it would be if you can get a run there, huh?
Oh, it's a great spot to pass, but you got to set your car up just right. It's something you almost have to be thinking about coming out of turn 14. You've got to get the long drag. You've got to get right behind somebody, nose to tail. So jump out in front of them about 100 yards, or alongside them rather, about 100 yards from the apex, and get that nose inside enough that they know where you're at. Because if they can't see you, they're not going to know not to hit you.
Acrudo was weaving that car down the main straight like a drunken sailor. Meanwhile, Tanaka kept a straight line. Now here comes Acrudo trying to just peek inside. Let's see what kind of braking he can get here as they come in. He'll have the preferred position, and I think he's going to get it done. He keeps Tanaka pinned to the outside. Can Tanaka do it over and under? I don't think so. And it looks like one Audi gets ahead of the other one. And was that corner 5 again? That was corner 5. Boy, that's where they really like to get it done there.
Corner 5 is probably hands down the best passing zone on the entire track. It's the best thing about it is once you make the pass, there's not a ton of room for somebody to get you back. Plus, the next turn is another left-hander. So if you get down on the inside of somebody, you're going to have the inside on the next corner too, so they can't get you right back.
Yeah, that seems to be the spot. You would think it'd be maybe down here once they get through down in Canada, but it's really not. As they work their way through the kink, man, that is a scary corner. So let's go ahead. Darling now still sitting in second. Roca out in front. Let's go ahead up to the leaders a little bit. Roca running up there only a second ahead. Honestly, Mark, we've done enough broadcasts at this point. Roca is out to lunch by this time.
It's been an interesting gap. I've been monitoring it between him and Paul Darling, and between him, Darling, and Acrudo for that matter. And it's been kind of up and down. And right now, the gap is seeming to be a bit bigger. But for a while, it was 0.7, 0.8, and now it's back up to 0.1, 1.1, and we're back down to 0.9. So.
And now we're looking at, I guess, third position again. I'm hearing from the director and Acrudo. And Tanaka has gotten around him. Look at that. There is the nice job from Tanaka. Back up. We'll keep an eye on this battle as they go back and forth. Now remember, Acrudo, really, we talked about it before, that finals on the, well, let's call it the safety, the podiums that are going to keep you from freezing in the cold Atlantic water, from the analogy of the Titanic. Well, right now, Acrudo is up there doing very well. Or Dexter Castro, he was also one of the guys that we're going to have to fight his way onto that. He's having a hard time. I'm not sure if Dexter's going to be able to find himself a podium position in the standings when this is all and done, because it's Darling and Acrudo ahead of him. It's going to be hard to catch. Dexter's going to need a little help.
Help is something you can definitely get at this track, because this can happen to anybody at any given time. Notably, for the race I was at this past weekend, the GT LM class, the car that was 5th with 2 laps to go ended up winning the class. So weird things can happen at Road America. You just got to keep your eyes open.
Director, let's drop back as soon as we're done with this onboard camera shot from the cream of the crop of the season here, Umberto Roca. As we look back, let's go back to 6th position. It's not really a battle right now, but this has really been where the best competition is going on, and it starts up there with Tim Collier, again an amateur driver. Now, the rankings for these drivers, what class they go in, is strictly done by iRating, and don't be surprised, Tim, with the performance that you've had this season, if you don't find yourself racing up there with the big boys next time. Collier running up in 6th position, James Stacy in 7th, Dino Topic back there in 8th, and then watching the whole thing, Litke. Meanwhile, Ratche still continues to try to break into the top 10. We're running in 11th, but has some work to do to get up to Ryan Bird. Dougie Beard, really, this is like giving Dougie Beard the finest canvas in the world to do his camera paperwork on, because he can get some great shots. The scenic, the beauty of Road America. Oh my goodness.
There's definitely a lot of options at this track for visibility, for viewing. They've opened up new places to watch from just this year. There's a spot right at pit out that you can literally stand as a spectator and have no fencing, no wall, no catch fencing, nothing in front of you.
One of the reasons that more big series don't race here is that they consider it that there's not a lot of population around it. It's a couple hours away from Chicago. It's close to Wisconsin. Well, I just don't get it. I mean, boy, I would love, India's back here now, aren't they? I think India was here this season.
Well, yeah, it's definitely closer to Wisconsin. It's about as close to Wisconsin as you can get. But it's the Indy cars came back in June, and they had they said 100,000 people, misquoted, but it was about 115,000 people for the entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The IMSA cars, the WeatherTech sports cars that were there this weekend, they had a pretty good turnout. They get a lot of people from Milwaukee, a lot of people from Chicago. They get Minnesota. You get your Minneapolis areas. There's a lot of car clubs in the area that get here. It's very centrally located for a lot of different cities. I'm close to Grand Rapids. I know people that came from here. You have Detroit. So there's a lot of places that can go within 6 or 7 hours to get to it.
Would like to see NASCAR come in one form or the other.
Well, in
I don't
3
imagine
weeks, they're going to be there in the Xfinities.
Or are they really? I didn't realize that. Well, good for them. Good for them.
They've had an Xfinity race for about 6 or 7 years now. They're trying to get there's a lot of talk about the Cup cars showing up here, but the problem with that is they don't have the permanent garages necessary for the Cup cars. But from what I understand, that's only a matter of time before they have those.
Looking at the best battle on the track right now, at least close up to the front, and that's Tanaka. Keep an eye on this as Crudo trying to get around him again. These guys are really, even though they're both in Audis, it's almost like, oh, they're not both in Audis. God, I got to get that straight. You got the Audi out in front and the Merc behind him. Well, that makes sense, because I was saying they don't handle the same. You can see that they are not in the same kind of feel there. Now I am confused as I look. If we can get a close on Tanaka is in an Audi, right? Even though, he's in a McLaren. Well, that makes sense. It says McLaren on the hood. Okay, so there's our top McLaren. I do know what the cars look like. My camera is so far away. Let me zoom in. Clearly it is a McLaren. Thank you, director, for correcting me on that one. It'd be nice if iRacing on my timing and scoring, these are all one class. It'd be nice if they would list them separately in a different color to help out me. So there's our top McLaren. We'll go back and see if we have any other McLarens in there. I'm not sure if we do. We're here, and he's the only McLaren. We have one McLaren, one roof. A splattering of BMWs. The Puffin team runs them, Dexter runs them, maybe a handful of those, then everything else pretty much Audis and Mercedes.
Talking about the McLaren, there one car that looks a lot like that McLaren is the Lamborghini Huracan.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead.
Well, no, it's obvious. I mean, if we can go into maybe an in-car camera from a Crudo, that's the McLaren with that back flames that come out the back of it is obviously a McLaren. And now we have a battle for the lead as our director has found this. Boy, he is on the ball today. Amjad Yaman helping out the announcers. Look at this. Darling has closed in right behind Roca. I have to admit, Mark, I just kind of sometimes with Roca out in front, it's hard for me not to just pencil that in as see you later. But Paul Darling doing a great job. You know, Paul got a late start to the season. If he would have been here from the beginning, this might have been a different story, because of late, he has been able to give Roca everything Roca could want. And doing it again right now. They work their way through the carousel. Now let's see what happens here as they start to accelerate through this.
This is an important place to hit your marks too, coming out of the carousel, because you want to be on the gas as you're exiting the carousel. And then once your tires come up, I wouldn't suggest this the first lap or two, but once your tires come up to temp, you can go through the kink flat out. And it's really important to your lap time to be able to do that.
Well, you can go through the kink flat out.
It's a fun place. It's a fun and scary place to drive.
Topic has made the pit window has opened and has come in and out now, making his first stop of the cars that are out there. Of course, Tarbax has come in and Hume has come in. Topis, the first one, making a planned stop. His plan was, we talked to him earlier, that he was going to run long the first stint and then short pit the second one. But I think what happens, I don't think he was happy with the company of cars he was racing with. Decided maybe come in, get that taken care of, go out and run some laps all by himself.
And that's an important strategy to consider sometimes, is if you're not getting the best lap times because of the cars that are around you, pit, go off strategy, change your tires. Just don't pit. Don't pit under green when everybody else is pitting under yellow. I saw that happen.
Well, he spent 50 seconds on pit lane, but really in his box only 19.4 seconds. So that tells me, without even going back to review, that he probably didn't take tires on this stint.
That's, again, not something I would consider doing as far as my own personal strategy, but let's see if it works for him.
Well, I know one driver to keep an eye on as we're still watching this battle up front here with Roca and Darling. Again, this is one of those battles where I'd like it to resolve itself. Roca and Darling in that battle, and then a Crudo still pestering their Tanaka. But one driver that is going to, I will almost guarantee, try to do it with no tires, and that's going to be Dexter Castro. He's notorious for trying to do that in his BMW. He likes to run it out there, and he'll be out in front, then because he's not taking tires, he'll gain all that time in the pit, then he tries to hold on. And honestly, Dexter, when you're running back there in 11th position, you probably want to try something different. Roca out in front by 0.5 of a second. Mark Darling seems to have the pace to stay with him. Maybe it's just no reason to do it yet.
Well, yeah, like you said earlier, we tend to just assume that Roca's going to run away with it, and it's unfair to the other very, very good competitors in this race. In fact, a couple weeks ago, we saw that race where I think it was Darling or Tanaka took it away from Roca right on the very with about 10 laps to go or 20 laps to go. So we cannot rule those other guys out, but it's just so hard when Roca's just so good.
And we saw that. Let's jump back to third position real quick. I don't think anything's going to happen here, but here is El Crudo pestering Tanaka in that McLaren. Maybe I spoke too soon. Here he comes. Is he going to force the issue? I think he is. He dives to the inside, and El Crudo's going to try to keep it side by side. Now they head up, but the McLaren gets a better drive off the outside line and is able to hold that position. So
now that's an example of what I was. Sorry, that's an example of what I was saying earlier about trying to get that move inside turn 3. If it takes you off the optimal line, you can't put the speed down the way you want to, and it allows the other person to get their spot back. And worse yet, if there was somebody behind him, he would have taken him too.
They stay right in there now. We have another car coming into the pits, and that was Poulter coming in for his scheduled stop. Oh, he took a fast repair. Let's see if we can figure out. Maybe he had damage earlier. I don't think there was a problem recently. Nope, I don't see anything that happened since Goodwin spun on lap 14. So I think everything is good. Maybe he just picked up some damage he wanted to fix. Fast repair, not a problem right now, Mark, when you're in your window, other than you're playing your ace a bit early. You won't have it later if things go south.
Yeah, well, the fast repair, it's that, it's an insurance policy, and it's just hard. It's hard to use it. You have to know, you have to know when to use it. I mean, if you have a little bit of damage, maybe you ride it out, or maybe you get it changed and hope that you don't get hit again.
Two nice battles going on that we're watching, even though there's not a pass for position. It's Roca leading Darling, and then Tanaka leading Alcrudo. Now, Alcrudo seems to be the guy most interested in getting around the car in front of him. I'm not sure if Paul Darling is not back there just saving fuel. Now, I know here's the thing, they all start with the same amount of fuel, so in theory, you all need the same amount of fuel when you come in. But you're driving a different make of car, and if you're following somebody for the first 40 minutes of your stint, you need less when you get there. Or you can run a little farther.
This track is just so difficult to gauge, and one thing that's really important to not misgauge is that fuel light. When that light comes on telling you that it's time to pit, you don't hope for one more lap. You don't second guess it. You don't assume that, well, maybe I can push it a little farther. It's 4 miles. You're not getting back in unless you pit now.
And isn't pit lane, I believe pit lane is uphill, is it not? So it's not even like you can coast in if you cut it short.
It is. I've seen people try to coast in.
And we're looking at a Crudo was able to jam it in and get that spot for now around Tanaka. Tanaka is not giving up the ghost, though. What a great battle going on from those two guys. That's the third pass that they've made. I think Crudo got around Tanaka. I think Tanaka got him out. Crudo comes back now. We're going to watch this on replay, Mark, because it was pretty cool. Let's tell me what you see here on this replay. Let's see if we can find it. This will be a Crudo from behind. There you see him duck it in. Got it done. Nice job.
Beautiful pass. They did touch each other. Both guys were extremely professional and gave each other enough room. I've seen so many cars push somebody right off the track trying to make a move through that corner. That's turn 6, and that's another really good passing spot, but it's also someplace that you can push somebody right off the track to get it done.
Looking now here for this battle. This Darling sitting back, he's just once again knowing the rest. I think he could have that if he wanted it. So I'm not buying into it anymore, oh my. I know what's going on. You're not going to take that lead till later on. It should be noted, this is a 100-minute race. They run mostly 60-minute races, so this is their endurance race right now. And now we have a lot of cars coming into pit. Chris Hudson is pitted from 5th position. Remember, Hudson doing very well in that Amherster standings and was our top Amherster. He was right in there with Tim Collier right now, so we'll see how that plays out. Collier still out on the track, running in 5th position. Maybe we can take a look at that real quick, Director. Collier running in 5th. Nice little battle behind him. Collier, Stacy, and Litke. It's been a close battle from those three the whole race, Mark, but just not a lot of... They're just out kind of for a drive. Not a lot of passing going on there.
And that can happen in a single class field where these are all GT3 cars, and that sometimes you're going to get them nose to tail, and it's going to be just driving around. A lot of times, like the Porsche GT3 series that races there, or the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo that races there, they get into formation, and it's like a parade, and it's sometimes very difficult to watch.
Well, if we talk about getting into formation, I believe those are all team cars running next to each other there. It's kind of like you're seeing triple. If at least, hopefully my colors are the same that you guys are seeing. It looks like they are all running that same team scheme there. Obviously, they are identical cars. I'm looking at them right now, see if I can find anything different on them other than the numbers. Next year, boys, if you could do something to help me out a little bit. And our leader has come in. Not surprisingly, though, Paul Darling has decided to keep that car out one more lap. Something to keep in mind. Now, what kind of lap...
Hopefully his fuel light didn't go on.
Right, what kind of lap can Paul Darling run? He was able to stay with Roca. Was he back there? Can he run a hot lap? Can he break the draft right now? Will Roca take tires? When Darling comes in, will he take tires?
We talked about that earlier. I certainly would. This track is so abrasive that tires can go off so quickly.
Roca in the pits for 13, 14, 15 seconds, 16 seconds, 17, 18, 19. And he looks like he's taking tires as he's staying in there. As we're looking at P2 now. This is Crudo and Tanaka still battling. Gonna go back to Roca. Roca's still in there. Clearly, you are right, Mark. Clearly, he is going to take tires. Boy, what a long pit stop.
That's just me.
Yeah, that's going to put him, even though he was 8 seconds ahead of a Crudo and Tanaka battle, that's probably going to put them behind. As we watch on right now, as we're looking at Tanaka and Crudo, they've been battling the whole time. Keep an eye on Roca. Roca finally brings it out right now. Finally brings it back out onto the track. A long, long pit stop for him. Time for Roca was 55 seconds in the stall. 1 minute and 26 seconds from the time he passed the in cones to the exit cones. So he's out there right now in 11th spot. It's about time for Omai to come in now. We'll follow him around. And as he coming in, he says, nope, we're going one more time, Mr. Announcer. Let's see if Crudo and Tanaka decide to do it. Crudo says it's time. Tanaka says it's time. So those guys are both in together. Tanaka does a great job of closing, gaining some time in the slowdown area before they get to the cones. Crudo was slowed down much earlier. Tanaka was able to dive it in there. Probably not at the top of iRacing's to-do list, but one day they'll have real pit guys out there that we can watch. They won't be invisible.
There you go. And something to note that these guys, they managed to get the full first half an hour without stopping. So we are definitely looking at a 2-pit stop race like we were talking about.
So some drivers who have not pitted yet. Paul Darling remains out, obviously, and then we have also Peter Hebron, the gentleman driver who's doing so well, and Jason Lundy yet to come in. Everybody else of note has come in to take their stop. Maybe one more that we should mention. Jay DeGuerre has not come in yet. Is he actually out there running? He is still out there, yeah. Running at 15th spot right now. All right, Darling still obviously has enough fuel. He's an experienced driver. We don't have to worry about him running out. Okay, as we look there at that, we're looking at Topic right now. It should be noted that Tanaka is out. He did not take tires. Crudo stays in. So there we have the first guy trying something different. Tanaka 19 seconds in the box, 50 seconds on pit lane altogether. So, if Darling decides to take tires, that means that Tanaka will be your leader. Still waiting for Paul to come in as we watch right now. Collier running in 3rd spot.
I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I can't understand why somebody would long on a stint here. Because it's going to be a 2-stop race anyway you slice it, so he's not going to really gain anything by staying out a lap longer.
Unless he thinks he's faster. So now, here we go. Our leader is in. Darling is in. He knows now. He's been able to check. His boxes told him that Crudo has, or I'm sorry, that Roca has taken tires. Nothing to worry about. Looks like Simon Goodwin has just put it in the wall. I believe it is recent right there. It's up in a self-spin. Oh, is that the kink? Oh my goodness. That's about as looped it around to the inside. I hate this corner. There he is out there. Try to keep it going straight at that top speed. That's a hard task. Darling now. Whoops. Let me get up to speed here. Darling still in his box. He's in there. Looks like Darling is taking... Oh, Darling is coming out. This was a 26 seconds in the box. Is he going to get out ahead of Roca?
Did he get tires?
Darling did not take tires, but what he did do was stay in there for a long, long time. A 26-second stop. These are compared to ones that are like 19 seconds. So maybe he took all the fuel he needs. So Darling out there now. As we look at Roca not happy where he is right now. Currently running in 5th position. Just got around James Stacy. That's a pass for position. Both. James Stacy comes over. Nice pass, Umberto. Thank you. And then Victor Tanaka comes over with a thank you. That must have been Victor Tanaka giving a thank you to Anthony James, who just got around. All right, our new leader. Well, I want to tell you that it is Victor Tanaka, but apparently not. It looks like Paul Darling got out in front. Yes, he did. So Darling did not take tires. Now, before the pit stop, he was about 8 seconds ahead of that Tanaka-Accrudo battle. Now it's about 10 seconds, so he picked up a little bit there. Even though his stop, Darling's stop, was 26 seconds. Well, Tanaka's was 20. Oh, they were both 28 seconds on the money together.
A lot of stops right in between that 19 and 25 second range.
So now that the stops are done, let's go ahead and run these down, and we'll try to tell you the drivers who took tires and the drivers who did not take tires. Well, I can tell you right now, the top 4 drivers are all on the same rubber that they started with. That's Paul Darling out in front. Victor Tanaka, 10 seconds behind him. Let me get that time. Yeah, it is 10 seconds back. Then, Tanaka, it's about another seconds back to Dino Topic, running in 3rd, having a nice run. Of course, Dino out there seems like he took that stop earlier. Yes, he's about 8 laps earlier than the rest of these guys, so he'll be coming in soon. Right behind Dino, my goodness, is Tim Collier, that amateur driver in the 211 machine. Nice run from Tim. Looks like that amateur championship is right there for the taking. Then finally, the last car. Well, I was going to say it was James Stacy, but that's not correct because Roca's got around him now. Let's give you an interval from Stacy back to Roca. It's about 1.7 seconds, so don't be long before Roca's going to be getting around those guys as well. Remember, Roca is on fresh rubber. Stacy running in 6th. And I go over here to look, see who took Stacy also on new rubber as well. No, let me correct myself. He's not. He's on old rubber. Yeah. In fact, nobody is on new rubber. The only guy who stopped for tires is Miguel Accrudo, who was running up front. So Accrudo and Roca both stopped. And both took new tires. Everybody else running on the same pair they started with. Same 4 tires they started with. And what we'll do right now, since we've ran down the top 10 and we've got the pit stops out of the way, let's take a short break. We'll be back in just a few. Hey, 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 welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Championship Motorsports GT3 Series. This is the final round, round 10 from Road America. Right now, Paul Darling out of front comfortably, but don't be fooled by what you see because Darling is out there on old rubber. Right now, he has about an 8-second lead over Victor Tanaka. Both those guys have been racing the entire race on the same 4 sets of Mr. Feelgoods. Dr. Feelgoods, I believe they're called. Dino Topic has just been passed, running in 4th. Umberto Roca on brand new set of tires, running up there in 3rd right now. I wish I knew the manufacturer of tires so I could actually name them. My director was supposed to tell me that. Apparently he doesn't know either. Michelin's. Okay, we're going to go with Michelin's. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're going to say they're Michelin's out there. Collier running in 5th right now.
In the IMSA series, they all run Continentals except for the GTLM factory class. They run Michelin's.
I'm a big fan of manufacturer championship, different cars, different makes. I am not a big fan of tire wars. I've never seen tire wars do anything but cause trouble. So while I hate spec racing, I do like spec tire racing. Let's continue with our rundown there as I get off my soapbox about tires. Did I get to 7th place there? Pass on the screen right now. Now this is a Crudo. Keep an eye on this. Oh my goodness, it didn't quite work out. He was trying to get around Tom Ratchey. Now he already made this pass once, and then he gave it up when he overshot the corner. He gets into Tom. The Bay State Hammer got a little bit of a knock himself. Not too much damage. Tom working so hard to get up inside the top 10, and he was inside the top 10. Now he's back 11th. Jared Lawson running 10th right now. Remember, Crudo is really the only other top driver that took tires as well. So his next job is to see if he can run down Dexter Castro. Castro started 18th, has worked his way up to 8th plus 10, and he's going to do it the whole way on the same set of Michelin's, I'm almost positive. Let's see if we can get an interval here from your leader back to Castro to see if there's a chance for him getting up into the lead. About 33 seconds, it looks like. So that's within the room for him when Darling takes that long pit stop. There you go. You're going to see Castro back out in front. So Castro's job right now is to try to stay ahead of, well, actually, he's behind. Let's try to stay ahead of Roca. And I got that wrong, as Roca's already passed him, so he wants to stay ahead of El Crudo. Yeah. Roca really sitting, I keep forgetting, Roca really sitting in great position right now. Sitting in 3rd, and probably won't stop for tires next time either. So, once again, the Bolivian Blur, living up to his nickname. Since we have a little bit of a break, let's see if we can find a battle somewhere on track that's close. We'll go back to 6th position. James Stacy, in fact, we're going to get there just in time. Blinking a little bit on the inside. That was Litke. And it's hard for me, it takes me a second to call those cars because they are painted so similarly. In fact, they are painted identically.
That can make things tough.
I'm going to suggest that next season, this is just from the announcer, if James, if you could put a big S on the top of your car, Litke a big L, that would help. Maybe your favorite animal or pie, something up there that distinguishes you guys. Go ahead, Mark.
Or maybe just paint them 2 different colors.
That's one way around it. All right, let's go ahead. This is going to get exciting now here with Castro running in 8th position. Doing a great job in there with Litke in 8th. And then here comes Crudo in 9th. This is going to heat up in a little while. And James Stacy out in front. So 4 cars running within about 2 seconds of each other. Crudo's got a little bit of ways to catch up to make it within 2 seconds, but he'll be there soon enough. Let's keep an eye on that BMW of Dexter Castor now. He's got Litke in front of him. Both drivers in the Pro Division. In fact, James Stacy as well. All 3 drivers in the Pro Division. Castro running in 4th, though. Hopes of getting onto that podium in the Castro 4th in the standings. For that to happen, he's got to do better than Darling and Ocrudo, and right now he's got Ocrudo behind him. Stacy a little bit slow up there in 6th. These guys are going to run him down, I think. Nope, Stacy gets it going again. One thing, Mark, with a big field that we have here, but the 4 miles, traffic is not as much of an issue as you think it might be with a 100-minute race and a fairly large field that we have.
Yeah, the track is so large that the cars spread out so quickly. After a couple laps, you know, you start to get a second between each position. You're all over the track, and the other thing too is it affords the driver a chance to make a mistake, a chance to spin out, get it straight, get back in line, and not lose that lap.
Unless you do it at the kink, where some will attest it's hard to come back from that one. And
it's ugly.
Yeah, there are a few things that I can talk expertly about, but I can't talk about being a back marker here at this track. And this is really an easy track to get out of the way and not lose time.
Yeah, and you mentioned the kink, and there's been a few major accidents in the kink. Catherine Legg in her Indy car a couple years ago comes to mind. But following more of the sports car theme, several years ago, there was probably about 20 years ago now, there was a vicious accident in the back then the Camel GT series here. Somebody went spinning into the kink, into the corner of the kink. They touched tires. He spun violently into the kink, and the car was doing spins, pirouettes in the air as it landed, just getting shredded.
One thing that these 100-minute races do, they let us stay on a focus on a battle here for longer than we would be allowed to do if it was a shorter race. Stay on this battle a little bit here with Castro, because it's going to be very interesting, because here he comes. We talked about him being about 2 seconds back. Well, Miguel Ocrudo is there now. So I really think you have Litke, who's the slowest of the 3 cars. I think Castro is faster than Litke if Castro can keep it off the beach. And then Ocrudo on fresh rubber, really in a hurry, because Ocrudo's got big picture. He's got visions of grandeur here. If he can get around these guys, he's not happy with his ninth position. He's looking to podium. Just to follow up, as we stay on this battle, Darling able to match that 10-second gap on Tanaka. Tanaka had about a 10 seconds back on Roca, but that's not there anymore. It's down to about 5. So we'll keep an eye as Umberto makes his way up to Victor Tanaka. Dino Topic, my buddy, what a quiet, we call him the quiet Canadian. And how about maybe we can put the camera on him real quick, because we just haven't given him much screen time. What about a nice run? 4th place from Dino. Very well done. Started 10th, up 6 spots. Quiet Canadian having a quiet run today. Now we go back to the battle that we thought would be exciting. Here comes Castro. Ocrudo's looking for somewhere to go. Oh, and we missed it. Ocrudo has made the pass around Castro. Well, Dex is a fan of, he's a friend of GSRC. We tried to pull away. Did we catch that on the screen when that happened, Director? A little bit. Okay, Dex, we tried to save face for you as much as we could. So Ocrudo up to 8th. Litke next on Ocrudo's hit list. Go ahead, Mark.
One thing I was going to touch on is that Paul Darling is out by 10 seconds, and he's got 15 to Roca. Darling's got two stops under his belt. Tanaka's got 2 stops under his belt, but Darling and Roca only the one, so it's kind of an interesting lineup right now, given the fact that the way they're running.
Yeah, sometimes timing and scoring does weird stuff. I believe Tanaka's on his first stop as well. I think they've all made one. I see the same bug you're looking at. Yeah,
see, and even that makes it even weirder then, because if they've all got 1 stop, did Darling gain that much speed by not taking tires? Did Tanaka and Roca take tires?
No, Tanaka did not, and neither did Darling. Their stops were 26 seconds. Roca's was 55 seconds, so that's 28 seconds, I'm sorry, for Darling. So that's what, about 27 seconds, about what we thought it would be.
But wasn't Darling's and Tanaka's about the same amount of time? How did Darling get a 10-second lead?
Well, Darling was running third. Darling was back there battling with Ocrudo behind that. They were about 10 seconds back. The Tanaka Ocrudo battle was about 10 seconds behind the Darling Roca battle. So basically, Darling and Roca Darling and Tanaka came out about where they were, about 10 seconds apart. before they came in. The guy who is flying, though, is the guy who makes no sense to be where he is Umberto Roca. Out there with fresh tires, he is running these guys down. It's now under 4 seconds to Tanaka, so he's going to be up to Tanaka in no time. Let's go keep an eye on, though, this Stacy battle, because I think it's going to heat up here. Stacy, Castro, Accrudo. In fact, while we were talking, oh my goodness, Accrudo has gotten around. It happened so fast. Accrudo got around Stacy, got around Castro, got around Lipke. Accrudo is setting sail in the Brazilian breeze. I should hope he's from Brazil. I could be wrong about that one. Yeah, I don't think he's from Brazil. There was an influx of Brazilian drivers in some of our series. When they come in, boy, they come in like a swarm of angry mosquitoes, and then they come in and they ravage the series, and then they leave. Angry mosquitoes. Chalk that one up.
Buzz.
Yeah, that's.
As long as they're not the ones that carry the Zika
Well,
virus.
I think that's where I was going with that one. We'll stay on here as we look at Roca getting around the lapped car, getting close to Tanaka as he goes around. That was James Hulmes. He's getting around in the 257 car. Hulmes currently running 18th position. Lead car, one lap down, is James Hulmes. Here, Dino Topic talking about turning the engine off. I'm not sure if I misunderstood what he was saying.
I thought I heard the same thing.
I guess he's really trying to save fuel. Okay, now Castro. Once Accrudo got around Castro, he thought he'd bring that car in. Boys, he goes around the smoking car of Mark Ruggiero. That car's still smoking in the pits. My goodness, it's 26 laps. Somebody bring a fire extinguisher to Mark Ruggiero's car. He's 26 laps down, unless maybe they're trying to cook up a brisket or something.
Seems to me to be a bit early to be stopping.
Yeah, well, let's see here. We have 37 minutes to go, so that's just within the window. So Castro's going to come in. I don't think I'll be surprised if Castro takes tires. I know his strategy. In fact, he's rolling right now. So he'll do it on the same four. He'll bring it home on the rims. I think we're going to change his nickname from the main man to Dexter on the rims Castro, because, man, he likes to drive some tires that don't have much rubber left on them. But what does that mean? Castro was in a battle there. Who was he battling with? Oh, he was in there with Lipke. Well, Lipke takes tires now. He didn't take it the first time, so look at the gap that Castro will get. Lipke finally rolling right now. Here comes your leader. Now, with only a 15-second gap to Roca, I really don't think, and there goes Roca by him right now. Yeah, that is Umberto Roca going by. Am I correct? Umberto Roca now inheriting the lead because he's. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Tanaka is still out there in the lead. Sorry about that, Victor. I remember about you. Okay, so Roca has gotten around though Darling. So now Darling has that decision. Does he want to do a Castro and bring another short pit stop and probably be able to get out in front of Roca? And we're looking at it. No, he's taking tires. So I think that pretty much is going to play into Roca's hands, because Darling did only with the 15-second lead really can't afford to do this. So what we can do here is, if Tanaka decides to stay out much longer, what we're going to see is a pass. In fact, Tanaka puts it off onto the grass. And you see, bring it back on there, Victor. Victor out there in front in that black painted McLaren. But he's only half a second up on a very hungry Umberto Roca. Roca currently hailing from Florida, originally from Bolivia. Victor Tanaka, a New England driver. And while he's out in front right now, I don't think that's going to be long-lived as we stay on this battle, as we ride on board with the Bolivian Blur, looking ahead at Victor Tanaka. Do the words "here, kitty, kitty, kitty" come to mind here as Tanaka starts to, or Roca starts to reel in the New England driver. Darling back out on the track. But we'll stay with this Tanaka pass for the lead here. Roca looking for somewhere to get it. Mark, I don't think is going to be too tough here. Let's see if Victor puts up a fight. He doesn't. Look how he stays to the outside, not even taking a defensive line in.
There really isn't one to take at point. The track is so wide and so straight that following typical blocking rules, you just got to pick a lane and go.
So I think the next spot would be maybe now turn 5. Let's see what happens. Roca back there just waiting for a spot.
Right here in 3 is an option.
Here we go. Roca looking for a spot. They come down here. I think he's too far back. Yeah, you know what? What's interesting is the McLaren's got good top speed. So let's see if he's going to dive it in here. No, he's not going to get there. So now I don't know where he's going to get it. Once they get through the carousel, I think the McLaren will probably be pretty strong through the kink. And down into Canada, Roca may want to take, maybe Roca's just taking one more lap to figure this out. And then, of course, he knows that Tanaka has to pit pretty soon, so maybe it's kind of pointless. Roca's not noted for being all that patient, though. He likes the clean air. Probably really annoying to be behind the flames of that McLaren. They go through the carousel. Now, from what I understand, flat out through the kink. Look at the run that Roca gets. Oh, Tanaka trying to make that McLaren as wide as a Julia Roberts smile, but I don't think he's going to do it. And it looks like Roca's going to get the job done. Look at the McLaren fighting back. Tanaka not giving up the ghost yet. There's Cialis bathtubs. Now they go through the left-hander. This is close. They're getting a little bit of a touch. And Tanaka, the New England driver, says, not yet. One
That's
more lap.
Amazing driving.
Oh, look at this. What is this? Roca has come in for his stop. He's had enough of Tanaka. I'll come in right now and take care of it. So here's his final stop. Tanaka stays out. Now let's see if we can pick up Darling. Darling just going through the carousel right now, down the long back straight, through the kink. He's got a hustle. Roca's stock mark is going to be fast, fast, fast.
What he needs that chance to get that quick stop out in front of, basically in front of Tanaka, because Tanaka is going to have to take his last stop yet.
Yeah, well, I think Roca was saying, you know, I can't sit back here. You're costing me time. And Paul Darling's out there hot lapping. So I think that's why Roca finally said enough of this. Roca's still sitting in the pits. Darling coming around the final corner. Darling's got a shot to get him. Roca is rolling now. Here comes Darling. Is he going to get there? Roca is out. Actually, Daguerre gets scared from the back, and Darling doesn't get there. He's got Daguerre in front of him. That looks like the gap is going to be about, oh my goodness, 9 seconds. I forget how far it is, how long that front straightaway is. Darling came around that final corner, and I forget that it's still a long, 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 long way to pit exit.
You know, I wonder if Roca rather would have pit had he gotten around Darling.
Maybe not. Or gotten around Tanaka. Yeah, I think it was Tanaka that was annoying him. Yeah. So your leader is still out there in that very fuel-efficient McLaren. Victor Tanaka out in front now by 22 seconds over Humberto Roca. What Victor needs to do is come into the pits, take the shortest amount of fuel he can, and see if he can get out there in 22 seconds. That would be pretty amazing. Tanaka in. Now what I am seeing though, as I go back to Roca, it's Darling, and then I wanted to see where Acrudo was. See, I have Miguel in. Oh, okay, because Miguel Acrudo has not taken his second pit stop yet. But is he behind Roca? No, he's ahead of Roca. Okay. So with Tanaka coming in, that means that Acrudo is going to inherit the lead. Now we'll go back. Remember, Tanaka was in that battle with Acrudo earlier on. Well, Acrudo has just gone by. Roca is just going past pit entrance right now. Tanaka is rolling. Tanaka is rolling. Oh my, the director says, oh my, I say, how could Tanaka get out? He is out in front of Humberto Roca, and that basically is for the lead.
By a large margin.
Now, did he take enough fuel? Well, we'll find out. That is for the lead, because right now your leader is Big Miguel Acrudo, but he still has to make that second pit stop. So, Victor Tanaka has pulled a fast one. He says to Humberto Roca, you couldn't get around me on the track. If you're going to win this race, you're going to have to get around me on the track. And the guy who could be loving that one is Paul Darling, who's back there hoping that Roca causes trouble. Darling's still back in 8th, but there's lots of drivers ahead of him that still need to take that second pit stop. Bird, Hudson, Lawson, Stacy all need to come in for that final stop. Well, I am honestly surprised, and I'm going to say that Victor Tanaka is really going to have to struggle to bring that car home on the fuel he has in the tank right now, because that was an incredibly fast time. Maybe I can tell you, I have timing to score, maybe to tell you how fast that was. How about a pit stop of 15.4 seconds? 3 seconds. That
seems too fast.
That seems too fast to me, too.
I don't know how you could do the calculation to finish a third of the race on a 15-second stop.
Well, you know, maybe the McLaren has a bigger fuel nozzle than the rest of the cars and flows in there faster into that machine.
Or an invisible second tank.
Or gets better fuel mileage, yeah. So, we'll keep an eye on that. Let me give you the interval right now. It's Tanaka. Now, I can't do it. You're going to have to do a little math here. Tanaka, it's 1.9 seconds back to Bird. And then it's 6 seconds back to Roca. Well, that wasn't so, or 0.5 of a second back to Roca. So that wasn't so hard. So about 2.5 seconds between Tanaka and Roca.
This Bird still has yet to pit, right?
Yes. Crudos needs to pit. Stacy needs to pit. Lawson, Hudson, all need to come in. Now, Dino Topic has made that second pit stop. In fact, we look at drivers, how they stand, drivers who've made 2 stops. Tanaka out in front, Roca in second, Darling in third, and then the quiet Canadian having another quiet race, running in 4th of all the drivers who've pitted. That's Dino Topic. Yes, right now he's running 9th overall, but there's still 5 drivers in front that still need to come in. So we'll keep an eye on him.
And he's having a very, very quiet but very good day.
Looking at all the drivers and who's leading in all the categories, I talked about the number systems, 100, 200, 300, depending on what class you're in. Then I talked about the special one for the fat, bald, slow guys. Well, let's go to Ryan Bird driving the car number, at least my system says 888. I do not know what class that is. The 888.
That's our class.
That's it. That's our class. I want one for people that eat, so I guess I'm going to be 888.
I think that's legitimately his number, too.
I think he might have made a mistake on that one. There should be some penalty points on that. Your leader, Miguel Acrudo. Let's see how long he's been out there. I can't give you a time, but I can give you a lap time. It's been 16 laps. If you want to do a little math, figure 2 minutes a lap. So that's about 32 minutes. He should be due in anywhere between the next probably 8, even less than 8 minutes here. With 25 minutes to go, there they come. Here come the other guys. Lawson comes in, Hudson comes in. Now these guys are fighting for position, so we'll go ahead and watch this. Hudson and Lawson in right now. They're both on the same lap. They go by the barbecued car there of Mark Ruggiero.
frying up eggs.
Some drivers will do anything to get screen time. You know, we're going to handle that Ruggiero car like we would if there was a streaker out there. We're not going to show it because we don't want to encourage such kind of behavior.
Or maybe we do, you never know.
It's a little known fact that iRacing does have streakers in the program, but it is GSRC's policy not to show them. Crudo out in front by 8 and 5/10 seconds over James Stacy. Stacy still out there. 3 drivers who are still looking to make their pit stop. Crudo, Stacy, and Bird. Bird actually has yet to make that pit stop and is running 4th overhaul behind Tanaka right now. Tanaka just got around him. In fact, maybe we can look at Ryan Bird right now. Coming up behind him is Roca. This is a battle for position. Bird, Bird, fly to the outside.
Whoa.
There as he really pulls Roca up. It is a battle for position. Bird's not seeing any blue flags. He's saying, I got the Brazilian blur behind me. I'm going to make him work for it. But Ryan Bird still needs to come in for that pit stop.
He's probably a little bit lighter, which is helping him stay up where he's at. He needs to keep all 4 on the asphalt.
Umberto has not had an easy time getting around cars today. Had a much easier time getting around Paul Darling in that battle than he did with these guys here with Bird and Tanaka. Now coming up, reason I bring this up, look up here, just ahead of Bird in that yellow machine is Tanaka up there. So there's Bird in that Mercedes, the yellow Mercedes. Then the black McLaren of Tanaka running 3rd. Bird is the bumper between those guys. Stacy pits from 2nd position. So here we go. This honestly is, once Crudo gets his pit stop out of the way, this is the battle for position. Roca on the inside, Bird on the outside. Bird trying to make that yellow Mercedes stick, and he does a nice job. Roca tries to duck it in, not yet. Bird leaves him just enough room, and they negotiate that corner. Now they head down the long straight. They have the kink coming up. My apologies. Where are they here on the track? Have they gone through there? Oh, he's not. I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong spot. Didn't know where he was. Now ducking to the inside. Here comes Bird. And Bird gives the way, and Roca gets that position through 5. Bird fighting back, though. Nope. So now Tanaka in 2nd, Roca in 3rd. And remember, Crudo still needs to come in. $5 in the jar for me for misidentifying a corner. I blame half of that to Mark, who's supposed to correct me on those things.
Hopefully it's a big jar.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna need a barrel.
Hey, listen, kid, you're new here. All right, Crudo still out there by 22 seconds. Now, keep in mind, we saw Tanaka do some amazing things to stay out in front. We really need to keep our attention, though, on this boot. Yeah, Crudo coming in. Now, we're going to follow Tanaka around because not only is Tanaka trying to hustle around, get around before Crudo gets out, but he's also trying to fend out Roca. Tanaka has that McLaren trying to make it wide. We saw this earlier. We know that Roca had a hard time getting around him. He's got 20 minutes to do it, though. I think somewhere between now and the 20 minutes when the checker flag falls, Roca's going to find some way around him as they go down the main straight. Now, remember, Crudo has come in. Crudo just pulling into his box right now. So these guys are both going to fly by. We'll watch this battle for what is now officially the lead while we keep an eye on the cars that are going around Crudo. The next one we want to keep an eye on is Paul Darling. Darling has gotten around Crudo right now. Tanaka still holding him off in front. Tanaka with Roca all over him behind him. It won't be long. We'll see if Stacy is going down the straight. Let's see if Crudo is going to get out in front of him. I think he will. Yep, and Crudo is out now. Go ahead.
Oh, Tanaka's driving a beautifully defensive line. He's putting his car right where Roca wants to go and make the move.
Not
but
now.
Roca's coming down the
Roca
inside, taking the corner.
Is he going to overshoot? Tanaka trying to come back at him. He can't. He's trying to make that little McLaren get up there and see what he can do with that big his car spins in front of him. That was Robert Tarbox Jr. Spun, but there is no problem. Right in front of the leaders. My goodness, you're battling for the lead. You're fighting with that pesky McLaren, and then you got the back marker of Robert Tarbox spinning in front of you. Great job from Umberto Roca. Now starting to pull away from McLaren. He's got about 8/10 of a second lead. It could be time to charge his credit card for minibar incidentals, because I think Umberto Roca is about to check out. Tanaka 1 second back. Now in third place still is Ryan Bird in that yellow Mercedes that still needs to come in for his last stop. I think Ryan must have like an electric generator in that car. He's getting a nice long run here. And Ryan gotta come in. Here he comes. So with Bird coming in, that turns over third position. Going by him now is Paul Darling, but he's pretty far out of the mix. It looks to me now, Alcrudo is going to be in fifth position, actually fourth. Let's see if he can get out before Bird. I think he will. Oh my goodness, here comes but Alcrudo has already made his pit stop. He must have made a mistake. This is his third pit stop. Something must have gone wrong. So he's coming in. He just made that stop earlier, so that's going to cost him some positions for Delta Motorsports. Of course, he is a teammate to Umberto Roca. Those guys, Roca has the championships locked up for the professional division, and I believe Delta Motorsports has it locked up in the team division as well, but it's hate to see Roca have that trouble. So what that means is that gives chance. Bird is already out, so I imagine Bird then is going to file in. Let's see, I think I can get this now for you. We'll take it from the top. Your leader by 1.5 seconds, Umberto Roca. He's made 2 stops. He is good to go. Second position, Victor Tanaka. He has made both stops as well, although his second stop was incredibly fast. Don't be surprised the New England driver comes in for a splash and go before this is said and done, with 17 minutes still to go. About 2.7 seconds back in third place is Paul Darling. And Paul's probably has the pace that he's going to be able to get up to that McLaren. That could be interesting before it's all said and done. Then, fourth position. We've talked about him all race. The quiet Canadian having a quiet run. Dino Talpich in fourth. Really hasn't been in any incidents since things settled down from early on. Fifth position. Wow, another guy having a great performance. James Stacy starting 11th up to 7th. A pro driver running in 5th right now. The man who's hoping to get on the podium, and with Alcrudo's pit mistake, that might be the difference that Dexter Castro needs to make that final season-ending podium position. Currently running in 6th, started 18th, up 12 positions. Remember, he's doing it without making a tire change. Then in 7th position, we saw the beautiful yellow Mercedes of Ryan Bird out there in that 7th position, just ahead of Chris Hudson. Hudson, the leading driver, I believe now that Collier is gone. Hudson is the leading driver of your amateur drivers. Right behind him is the other amateur driver leading in the standings, Tim Collier. And then rounding out the top 10, the Bay State Hammer. We've been talking about him getting into the top 10 all race. He's finally done it. It's Tom Ratchey. There's your top 10. For Alcrudo, where is he? He's filed out in 12th position. What could have gone wrong? He just came in a few laps. Didn't take enough fuel, maybe? Obviously,
one has to think so.
Or maybe a speeding penalty. Could that be it? Could he have sped and then they had called him back in?
That was too many laps between.
Yes,
I don't think
like
that
it was
could be
a lot of laps, yeah. So there's your top 10, and really, the battle to watch now is Tanaka, which is 1.3 seconds. We're going to watch here Paul Darling run him down. Darling really testing the envelopes of the track boundaries.
Good thing this isn't Formula One.
Yeah. What is nice to see, and one of the reasons I think that the GT3 series and races are so popular, look what we've got up front. We have the Audi, make sure I have this right now before I get this wrong. Yep, the Merc is out in front. We have the Merc of Roca out in front. Then you've got the McLaren of Tanaka in second. And then you've got the Audi of Darling in third. And we look down there, where was our roof? It was a Bird? I forgot who was driving the roof.
Not Bird.
Lawson is not doing, yeah, lost. But you got Castro in a BMW running in sixth. So how about, and now we're looking at this battle. This is going to happen here soon. Look at this. Here comes the Audi of Darling looking for a spot around Tanaka. We know that Tanaka is tough to get around. Umberto Roca will testify to that. Here's Darling trying to duck it in. The defensive line by Tanaka will be enough here. See, now he'll have it. This is kind of what Mark was talking about earlier. He has the preferred position here, and then he'll have it on this next corner too. So it's so hard if you can defend there. But look at the drive that that Audi gets on the outside, and Darling's going to take over second position. Tanaka not giving up. He's coming back on the inside. No, I'm sorry, that's on the outside there. Then they go through the left-hander. Yeah. Now down through the carousel, and this is where I think we should see Darling leave him behind. Gives him a little virtual wave out the passenger, at the driver's side window. Victor says, go on and take it. Bad news for Tanaka is he gives up second position, falls into third. Good news for Victor is it's 27 seconds back to Dino Topic. So it looks like your top three podiums are pretty well set here with 12 minutes to go. Now let's see if we can find that battle we were looking at there a second ago. I think it's going to be, we look back, Stacy Castro. Castro and Bird pretty much set out. Let's see, director, if we can find something to focus on here. Not much. Let's see if I can go back maybe a lap down. Let's try some of these guys. Nothing really going on there as we go through. Well, instead of finding a battle, then how about we find somebody that we haven't mentioned? All right, I got one. Let's go back to Anthony James, currently running in 20th position. And I believe he just got passed for position. Nope, I'm sorry, that was Collier a lap down. But anyway, let's give Anthony a little attention. Anthony running in 20th, first car 2 laps down. Having a nice run. Really the last car that has had stayed out of trouble. In fact, I can even take that a little bit farther. I believe he's the last car running right now. Well, let's try something different, Mark. This is something we do in the MX-5 World Tour.
Okay.
We don't have a sponsor for it, but we'll do 2 at a time here. We'll take it from the back. I'm going to start with Anthony James. This is your back marker review. Anthony James currently running in 20th position. Just ahead of him is Jay DeGuerre. Now, is Jay actually running? Nope. Oh, I went the wrong way. There we go. It's Paul Honeybaked Hamilton running in 19th spot in that Audi. So there's your guys driving 20th and 19th. Who do you got in 18th there, Mark?
Up in 18th place, we've got the last car running, 2 laps down now. It's showing 1 lap down. But James Hune, he's having a good run in that BMW. It's having an effective, sort of an effective day. He's been keeping his wheels straight, just no major issues. Just in front of him is Peter Hebron, and he's running a lap down to the leaders in 17th place.
Hebron on the way, I believe, to a gentleman's championship there. In 16th position, if we have it, I believe we're going to go to Robert Tarbox Jr. There he is. He had hopes of winning the amateur championship. I don't think he's going to get there with the success that the guy he was chasing, Tim Collier, is having today. Just in front of him, running in 15th spot, Kurt Poulter. Haven't seen much from him. And is that a roof? Nope, that is not. That's a BMW he's out there racing in. So there's 15th position. Who do you got in 14th, Mark?
Up in 14th, we have Curtis Paulson in the number 277. And just ahead of him, we have Drew Lidke in the 127.
We'll come back and get the rest of this in a minute. We're looking at that Bird is beginning to run down Dexter Castro. So let's go ahead and take a peek at this one. We'll come back and get those other drivers in a minute with 9 minutes to go. Be your best battle on here. My goodness, what a shout out to Dexter Castro, the main man. Dextro, run him on the rims, Castro, up there in 6th place right now. But those tires have got to be shot. So running behind them is Ryan Bird. Dexter with a real chance. We talked about it again. I used the analogy of the floating board in the Titanic movie that's going to keep these guys from drowning. Well, Castro's success with the Recrudo struggling right now down in 12th, that may be enough to get Castro that final podium spot in the season-ending standings. It did not look good for him starting in 18th, with Recrudo starting up in 3rd, but Recrudo started 3rd, currently running in 12th. Castro starting 18th, currently running in 6th. I'm not sure about the point standings, how it plays out, but I got a hunch that Castro probably does not want to give this position up to Bird, because he needs every available point to get on that podium. Bird's been having a great run, Mark. Love that yellow Mercedes that he's been running out there.
Oh, yeah, it's been fun to watch him. He's, I think, overly competitive. He's been really good, really, really strong, really professional. And just, it's just been fun to watch.
And one of the drivers that gave Umberto Roca a hard time during this race in a battle for position, even though he had a pit stop, they were off pit strategy, different cycles, made it tough on Roca. In fact, Roca, I think, decided that's enough of that and came on in. So Castro out in front right now. Let's see what he's got left on those rims. Just under 8 minutes to go. What I'd like to do maybe quickly, we'll finish up those drivers we didn't get to before that starts to pick up there again. Let's go to 13th position right now. Drew Lidke having a nice race just about of him. We've seen a lot of Miguel Recrudo making that extra stop for some reason, either a back flag or miscalculated his fuel, running back there in 12th. 11th position, Jared Lawson. And then I think that'll do. That gets us up in 10th position with Tom Ratchey, and we've seen him. Congratulations, he's up there. Let's go back to that Castro-Bird battle now, because that's heating up. That's heating up right now as they go down the main straight. Here comes Bird on the inside. Castro's going to have to give it up.
Great move by Bird. He just drafted him down the straightaway like you're supposed to do. Popped out at the exact right moment, and there was nothing that Castro could do.
Castro's got nothing for him on those old tires. So now the question is Castro going to be holed off Chris Hudson? Chris Hudson is 2 seconds behind him. I have no idea. Maybe I can take a quick look at Castro's last lap time here to give an idea if he's got any chance of staying on there. Castro's last lap was a 2:07. Hudson run a 2:05. My goodness, I don't think it's going to be long till Hudson gets there.
He's going to catch him quick.
Yeah, it's 6 minutes to go, under 6.5 minutes to go.
The question is now, does he have enough time?
Yeah, the top 5 spots look pretty well set. If I know Dexter, he's done the math in his head. He's probably got the calculator out there. He knows that Recrudo's running in 12th position. Does Recrudo have any chance of catching up? No. Lawson is 6 seconds ahead of Recrudo, so pretty much in there. Castro doing the math right now. Can I afford to give up one more spot? Can I afford to let Chris Hudson buy me and still get on the podium?
And, not to just proverbial green weenie, but this thing has been relatively trouble-free since those couple of early crashes.
Well, that's easier for you to say. Mark Ruggerio's in there barbecuing his brisket, so...
I just want to be invited to dinner.
I would like to point out that the car is still in pit lane, but it has stopped smoking.
It probably burned itself out.
Yeah, I think it probably ran out of flammable material. Back to our looking at Castro now. And darn it, if Tom Ratchey, while we look at this, we miss it. I apologize, Jared Lawson. Jared has got around Tom Ratchey. And that means that Rat Chase battle to finish in the top 10 looks like it's not going to happen as he drops back to 11th.
Is it just me or is Bird knocking on Stacy's bumper at this point?
And we're thinking that Bird is making a move here.
He could have Bird could have a run at Topich before it's too long.
So we're looking at battles now. As we watch on, we're looking at the Chris Hudson there chasing Castro. And then we also have Stacy battle. Stacy in a battle with Ryan Bird. We'll try to follow both of these battles, one eye on each. I think the guy who's going to have the most trouble is Castro right now because Hudson has ran him down quickly. Meanwhile, Stacy up there fending off Bird. The good news for us trying to follow this is they're right behind each other on the track. These guys are running 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Dream just under 4 minutes now to go. I think we're going to have probably, if I can find the leader, see where he is, maybe 2 more laps is my guess, but we'll follow that a little closer. We're going to stay on this battle. Oh, here we go. Bird, let's go up to Bird. Bird took a dive in at Stacy. Didn't get it done. Now we go to the same corner back behind him. Castro fending off Hudson.
Are you saying Bird took a nosedive?
He did. He took a... He tucked the wings in and put the beak out and dove on in there. And we're not out of the woods yet. There is more to watch as Darling has ran down Umberto Roca. Umberto could just be playing with us now. Bird, as there's so much excitement, Bird makes the pass on Castro. And here we go. We're looking at
under
it. Okay.
Stacy.
Right. Hudson has made the pass on
Castro.
Bird has made the pass on Stacy. So let's put those two away. Now let's go to the one that really matters. Umberto Roca. This is under a second. I had penciled it in. I did not pencil it in. I had inked it in that Roca had this thing wrapped up. But Darling has been running hot times and has ran him down. 2 minutes and 19 seconds to go. I think we're probably going to get the white flag lap this time by. Under a second now. They're coming up on the back marker of Kurt Poulter, the last car on the lead lap. They work around the final corner. With only a minute and 50 left on the clock as they go across the start-finish line, I think this should be our white flag lap. So Darling's got to get it done now.
If he wants to, he's got to set it up in a previous corner. He's got to get in front, come out of 3 or come out of 13, 14, and make a run at him.
They go through 1. They manage that safely. Darling is there. Darling is right behind him now. Now they head down to the passing zone that we've seen so often. They go into 5. The car up ahead, Poulter says he gets out of the way, but what it does is it makes Roca take a defensive line. Darling's going to try to go to the outside. This is going to be hard to do. They're side by side. Darling's now ahead of him. Now they go and see how his bathtub. Darling trying to do the over-under. Roca goes wide. The lead. Now he has the preferred position as they go into 6. Roca's going to have to fight back on the outside. They are side by side now as they head down towards the carousel. Darling has the lead. Roca spins. Roca loses it. Roca trying to keep it off the wall. He can't. He has nosed it in. Now the left-hander for Darling, and Darling has this done. Roca now trying to turn the car around.
I can honestly say I did not see that happening.
We are on board now with your points leader, Umberto Roca.
Did they touch or did
a
he
little
just make
contact? I believe there was a little contact, and then they got loose, and Roca couldn't save it. Hats off to Paul Darling to running down Umberto Roca. Roca's not going to be able to do the double, win the race and the championship. He'll have to settle for winning the championship and the second highest podium today. Darling coming around the final corner. Race number 10 of the Championship Motorsports GT3 Series goes to Paul, oh my darling.
What a great last couple laps out of him.
What a great run. Umberto Roca brings the injured car home in second. And we look, Tanaka has got around. Oh, Tanaka is your second place driver. Roca was not able to get the car back out. Roca brings it across in third. Let's go back and follow all the lead laps cars across the start-finish line. Coming around the final corner, the quiet Canadian, Dino Topic. Very quiet, very nice race for him. Fourth position, a guy who had a lot of excitement, Ryan Bird, able to bring that car in fifth position, I believe.
No,
he's ran out of fuel. There goes Stacy. Can Bird stay ahead of the other cars? Nope.
Oh,
there goes Hudson. There goes Castro. Bird trying to see if the car will make it to the start-finish line, and it does.
Heartbreak. He had such a great last few laps to have that happen. Oh,
Collier
my stars.
Gets 8th. Collier gets 8th. Looks like Bird is going to get 9th, I believe. 10th to Lawson. Tom Ratchey's never-ending battle to finish inside the top 10. He does it. No, he doesn't. He gets 11th. Sorry, Tom. 12th to Drew Litke. 13th goes to Miguel Ocrudo. Paulson in 4th. Now, keep in mind, 13th for Ocrudo. Castro picked up a spot, moving up into 7th when Bird ran out of fuel. Could that be enough to get Castro on the podium? We'll find out soon. Director, take us to break. I've seen enough to know I've seen too much. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll be back in just a few. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Championship Motorsports GT3 Series Round 10, the grand finale of the season. And boy, it was exciting. We can crown a winner, we can crown 3 champions and a team championship as well. What we're going to try to do right now is take a look at, as soon as we can, the pass for the win today, and this was between Paul Darling and Umberto Roca on the last lap. Go ahead, Mark, tell me what you see.
Well, you've got Roca and Darling coming down, and Darling has the inside line here, and or outside line. Now he's got the inside line. You've got Roca on the outside. They're coming up Fireman's Hill, turn 5 into turn 6 under the Corvette Bridge. They take the corner here side by side. They're still side by side, and I think Roca puts his tires on the inside of the curb here, and it causes him to spin, and I think that's where he lost it. I don't think the car's ever touched. I think he just got too much spin, too much wheel spin off that corner, and that caused him to just lose it.
And one of the things the director was talking about is we look at it overhead. I think Mark called it and said we go to slow motion there, and there you can see the spin. One of the things that our director pointed out to us during break was that, if you remember, Umberto Roca took his long pit stop early, and Darling took his long pit stop late, so Roca was on much older tires, and we heard that Umberto came over the mic and said, boy, my tires were gone, so that's what allowed Paul Darling to run him down. Let's go ahead and run down the entire standings now of the final race of this Championship Motorsports Series. Boy, what a great series. So glad the GSRC is here to cover some of these races. Your winner today, Paul Darling, having a great second half of the season. Nice to see Oh My finish up with a strong win. He gets the victory. Another great run from Victor Tanaka with Roca's problems on the final lap. Tanaka was able to bring that McLaren around in second. Umberto Roca able to limp it home in third. That's the bad news. Good news is he is your champion in the Pro Division. Dino Topic, the quiet Canadian, was quiet all race, 4th position. We did see a lot of him, though. James Stacy and Chris Hudson go into the 5th and 6th position. Now, this is important. Dexter Castro was able to finish in 7th, able to get around Ryan Bird when he ran out of fuels. Tim Collier is the winner of the AM champion. He's going to finish in 8th. And then there's Ryan Bird, who had a great run. Will that one position be enough for Dexter Castro to make the podium in the standings? We'll find out next season. We probably won't know this season before we sign off. And finally, the final car on the top 10, Jared Lawson on the lead lap, though. Mark, who do you got there in 11th position? As if I didn't know.
I tell you, that was really a heartbreak for Ryan Bird. But in 11th is Tom Rathke in the 141. 12th, we had Drew Lidke. In 13th, Miguel El Crudo. Number 14th, we had in 14th, we had Curtis Paulchen. In 15th, Kurt Poulter. In 16th, your friend of mine, Robert Tyrebox Jr. 17th, Peter Hebron. 18th, James Hume. In 19th, Paul Hamilton. And in 20th, Anthony James. The last one, I think, on the that was actually running. Back to you.
Friends and family of Peter Hebron, give him a text and tell him to come in for an interview. He's a gentleman's champion. We'd like to talk to him. Jay DeGuerre in 21st. 22nd goes to Jason Lundy. Boy, finishing out the season with a whimper. Come on, Jason, let's get it back together. Better luck next season. Chris Hogveld in 23rd. Double dozen spot goes to Simon Goodwin. Edwin Benicki in 25th. I believe the brisket is finished up for Mark Ruggiero in 26th. Enjoy. Bon appetit. All right, now let's see if we can talk. We have lots of guys to talk to. We're going to try to make these quick so we can get everybody in here. Let's go ahead first. If Umberto in there, we'll see if we can talk to our champion. He's not there, so let's go with our race winner then. Let's bring him into the booth, and we'll let Mark talk to our race winner today. Here he is, Paul Oh My Darling. Go ahead, Mark.
Paul, great run, great end. That was an amazing finish. Tell me, what were you thinking those couple corners between 5 and 8 there when you were battling Umberto for that lead?
Oh, I thought the battle was going to go all the way to the start-finish line there. It's just unfortunate that it ended like it did.
We were looking at the replay. It looks like he may have put some tires on the inside of the curb, which caused him to spin. But it was. What about your car? Pit stops? How did your race fall to the point where you were able to track him down? So I don't want to say easily, but it looked like you were just chewing him up.
I got the setup to pretty much one of the best setups I've made for this car. I think I could really feel what it was doing and react to it well. So I was planning on doing a no tire strategy, but that was with no practice. And after the first few laps after the first stop, I figured I was losing way too much time to Umberto, so pitted as early as I could for the second stop and put some tires on and just see if I could chase him down.
Great. And how about looking forward to next season? Car type, what are we gonna be doing for next year?
I think it's going to be staying with GT3s. I'm not sure what the admin changes, but I'm loving the Audi.
Great, thanks. Well, congratulations today. A lot of fun to watch, and good luck in the future.
Thank you very much. See you guys later.
Paul, oh my darling, your race winner today and having a great end to the season. If he gets in for the beginning of next season, he could challenge for the championship. Now we're going to talk to your amateur, what we believe to be the amateur driver championship champion, and that's Tim Collier. Tim, nice job today. You brought it home where you needed to in 8th position. Tarbox had trouble. I think you're going to get that championship. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. It's been a really great year. Had a couple of late season incidents that really made it close the gap with with Robert. Not that he wasn't right on my tail the whole time, but it was such a great group. I had a great team, and CMS is such a great place to race.
Well, the good news is you win the championship. The bad news is, from what I'm understanding, that they're not going to limit these classes anymore to just I rating. It's I rating and performance. So you may have brought yourself up into the pro division. You think that's a possibility next season?
It may be. It's one of those things that sometimes you have a race where you finish around those guys, and then other times they blow right by you, and you go, "Well, there's no reason for me to be with them." So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Well, whatever it is, it was a nice race today. You had yourself some good battles throughout the day, but you brought the car home clean and got yourself a championship that you worked. It was a good battle all season long in that championship, back and forth.
Yes, it was, and I'll tell you the difference for me was my teammates over at Can-Am Racing. We spent a lot of time talking, sharing telemetry, practicing, and it's that little bit of push that each of us gives each other. And Chris Hudson, who won the Pro-Am class the last 4 races, is just a fantastic teammate, as well as Drew Lidke. And I'm having such a great time with these guys. I'm hoping we can find a way to keep the team together next year.
Well, congratulations, and let's bring the team back. I was writing some notes. It's Can-Am Racing, right? Is that what you guys are racing with?
That is correct, Can-Am Racing.
Well, congratulations. Let's see if we can follow up the amateur championship with maybe a team championship next week. There you have it. Finished 8th place today, your amateur champion, Tim Collier. Congratulations. Okay, Mark, who do you got next?
I thought we were bringing in Dexter Castro.
All right, we're going to bring in Dexter Castro here with a great run. Castro started 18th, got himself all the way up to 7th, and we think enough to get Castro on the season-ending podium with the Crudo's trouble that he had earlier today. Let's let Mark talk to him.
Dexter, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. Yep.
What a fun run today. Watched you all over the standings, up and down, and what a great last couple laps. What were you thinking as you come up the hill and saw Ryan Bird just more or less stalling?
Well, at that point, I didn't really have too much emotion at gaining one position from 8th to 7th. I mean, it may have been fun for you guys to watch, but traffic in the BMW is not exactly the most pleasant experience.
Yeah, we saw that. It seemed like your car had a little bit of trouble passing, but yet we saw you up higher in the standings and then again lower in the standings. Was that pit related, or was it just the way the car was handling?
But yeah, I mean, I went up 11 positions, and I think one of them was a pass on track against a car that wasn't a BMW. So I passed, I passed Kurt in a BMW, I passed Tom in a BMW, and I passed someone else. But that's it for actual passes. It's just, being so far back in traffic, I just had to play the pit game to try and avoid traffic as much as I could. So that basically meant a shorter first pit stop to get in some clean air and then, try and create a gap so that I'd still be ahead after the longer second one.
And when it's all said and done, a 7th place has to feel kind of decent, though, given the fact that the kind of day you had.
Yeah. I mean, I really wish I would have qualified. Maybe top 10, maybe top 5. But yeah, like every single other race. But somehow I managed 18th. I think if I had managed to qualify up front with the guys, I might have had a shot to crack the podium. But they were all pretty fast, and this isn't the greatest track for a BMW. But then again, I won Monza, so with good enough pace, I should have been able to at least challenge the podium.
So, any future plans, car type or of the like?
Well, I figure somebody's got to drive the BMW and represent it up at the at the pointier end of the field. And really, I prefer it anyway. It's the type of car that makes you it's the way it dictates your race strategy makes you want to tear your hair out sometime. But I definitely enjoy the car enough that I could go run the Audi and just, blow past somebody if I'm actually faster than them, no problem, and not have aero understeer like crazy. But it's not. I don't enjoy the Audi, so it's all about driving a car you enjoy, and it's a fun challenge.
You got to do what you love, and we definitely love watching you run that BMW. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you next season.
Yep, see you around.
Dexter Castro, your 7th place finisher today, and what we believe is a podium finisher in the standings. Okay, our final interview, and I'm glad to get him in here, in that scary black McLaren. Boy, he had a great run today. Always fun to watch Victor Tanaka run. Hey, Victor, congratulations on 2nd place.
Thanks. Yeah, it wasn't really that deserved, was it? I just barely got it at the last lap, but that was fun, and I had some pretty good side-by-side battles there with Paul and Miguel and Humberto. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you made him when Umberto was behind you. You made him work for it there. In fact, I think he finally said, "Enough of trying to get around Victor Tanaka. I'll just pit." I think he gave up the attempt. Boy, that the McLaren was running well.
Yeah, I actually didn't take tires at all, so that's how I got myself in first, because it didn't take tires. But yeah, those guys were just a lot faster than me on the last stint there.
Yeah, we were very concerned with you there, because not only did you not take tires, which is fine, but man, did you have much fuel left over when you finished? Because man, that second stop was fast.
Yeah, I had 1 lap of fuel left, but I was calculating 48 laps. So if we did go 48 laps, which is really, really close, I would have been really, really close on fuel. But yeah, I had enough. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I didn't want to hold up, both of them too much. Didn't want to hold up Humberto or Paul, because I knew they were coming much faster. But then I thought, if I fight them equally, I'm not going to have any effect on the outcome of the race. So yeah, I'm going to make both of them lose as much time.
There you go. Give them both a hard time. Well, man, all season long, it's been fun to watch you race earlier in the black roof and then in the McLaren. Try to come back in one of those unique cars next time if you're back for the next season, because it makes it fun to see somebody racing something, not just one of the Audis or the Mercedes that are out there all the time.
Yeah, all right. I'll give it my best. Thanks for the broadcast,
there
guys.
You have it. Always fun to talk to Victor Tanaka. Fun interview and a fun driver to watch on the track. Well, there you have it, boys and girls. That's going to wrap it up for us, and I would like to start to go to our ending right now, if I'd be happy enough to find our script, and I have it right here. So let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Hey, I'd like to thank the Championship Motorsports for organizing the series and for contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. We know you have a lot of choices when you fly. Thanks for flying GSRC. Pay attention to these credits. They're important. Thanks to the company's equipment and software that you see on the screen right now that we use on the broadcast. If you think about clicking off, don't do it, because I've been doing research on all of you guys. I'm going to talk about your family members here during this closing credits. The original music that you heard today on today's broadcast is thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey DeLon. See the screen for how to contact them. I know some secret information that I will expose as we get to the end of these credits, so everyone stay in here. Thanks to my mic make, Mark Nobert, our director Amjad Yaman, Dougie Beard for his camera location. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, your best bet is globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter and GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. You know, it could be good information about your family. It could be bad information. Stick around. I'll let you know. Plans are underway right now as the Championship Motorsports GT3 Series upcoming season. I can confidently speak for everybody at GSRC that we hope to be there to broadcast some, if not all, of the action. Now, for details about all the upcoming events, go to the globalsimracingchannel.com. Hey, I lied about information on your family, but you paid attention to the credits, didn't you? So, well, that just about does her. Wraps are all up. I hope you folks enjoyed yourself. Catch you later on down the trail. Say, friend, you got any more of that good sarsaparilla?